am your host for today's panel. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this session of the 33rd Annual National Character and Leadership Symposium. Today's session features our 2025 Outstanding Airmen of the Year representatives, sponsored by the class of 1993. Please hold your applause until all introductions are complete. Master Sergeant Selina Ortega is the Executive Assistant to the Air Force Reserve Command Chief Master Sergeant at Robins Air Force Base, Georgia. She serves as a key advisor to the Chief of the Air Force Reserve and manages the development and training flight, overseeing enlisted accessions. A native of Holyoke, Massachusetts, Sergeant Ortega's background includes security forces and mental health services, where she served as a sexual assault volunteer victim witness advocate. She previously served as a master military training instructor and evaluator for basic military training. In her civilian career, she continues her dedication to public service as a trooper for the Massachusetts State Police. Technical Sergeant Matthew C. Sanders is the non-commissioned officer in charge of the Explosive Ordnance Disposal Equipment Section at Little Rock Air Force Base, Arkansas. He leads a team responsible for $15.2 million in mobility and munitions accounts, ensuring the rapid deployment of EOD technicians for dozens of unexploded ordnance responses each year. Entering the Air Force in 2011, Technical Sergeant Sanders served as an HVAC technician in the Republic of Korea and Italy before cross-training into EOD in 2016. Prior to his current assignment, he served as the NCOIC of EOD equipment at Vandenberg Air Force Base, California. Staff Sergeant Eleanor Rose Warren is a geospatial analyst for the 192nd Intelligence Squadron at Joint Base Langley, Eustis, Virginia. She is responsible for analyzing multi-sensor imagery and geospatial data to identify terrain usability and potential threats. A member of the Virginia Air National Guard, Staff Sergeant Warren has deployed with the Bilateral Intelligence Analysis Cell, exploiting full-motion video alongside the Japan Self-Defense Forces and the Royal Australian Air Force. Outside of her military service, she continues to support the mission as a government contractor at the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. Senior Airman Roman Bereguta is a cadet candidate at the United States Air Force Academy Preparatory School. He previously served as a certification team lead at Peterson Space Force Base, providing financial support to more than 18,000 personnel worldwide. During his deployment in support of Operation Atlas Guardian, Senior Airman Bereguta served as the lead trilingual interpreter for Task Force Grey Wolf. He was hand-selected as the personal interpreter for the Chief Master Sergeant of the Ukrainian Air Force and has briefed U.S. congressional delegations and NATO Special Operation Task Forces. Please join me in welcoming our panelists. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you for all of those incredible contributions you have made to the Air Force in your career so far. My first question is, Outstanding Airmen often lead through influence rather than authority. Can you share an example of how you demonstrated courage by stepping up, speaking up, or taking responsibility outside your formal role?
Thank you. So I'm Tech Sergeant Sanders. Give a little background about myself outside of my bio. Been in 15 years, started my career as HVAC. I have 2 deployments. One was with HVAC, which I'll probably get into with this question. And then my second one was quite recently. I was there in Iraq mostly. I was dealing with all the drone warfare. So again, thank you guys for being here. I hope that our backgrounds up here can help answer questions you might have for us. So my background is more like the tactical side. I've been overseas and done the drone warfare. I've done the IED stuff. And so I have my more tactical operations stuff. I work a lot with officers when I was over there, that being EOD officers, CE officers, if any of you are going in the CE background, and then just your regular Air Force officers. So again, I have a lot of answers if you guys have them. But going back to Cadet Wallace's question about outside the realm, one thing that really stands out to me that I usually brief out at Little Rock when we do like warfighter training is my first deployment in Afghanistan. I was just an HVAC guy, and we had IDF come into the base in Bagram, and one of the soldiers got hit by a rocket, right? So I happened to be the first on scene, and there's a lot of other soldiers and airmen around. There was also combat medics around, but no one kind of knew what to do. And for me, my job was just doing air conditioning, make sure people are, comfortable. So I didn't really know what to do, but it was really outside my realm. But, I just used the training I got from pre-deployment training. I got down there. It was above the knee amputee, and he was missing his left arm. So I did the first T-C on him, doing all my, CLS kind of stuff before anybody else could, because they couldn't seen that before. So that really kind of set my mindset of, well, just go back. He did survive, so he got rolled 3 out back to Ramstein, and he just go back to his family. So that kind of inspired me to kind of take the next step in the Air Force. So that's kind of why I cross-trained into EOD, to be more on the tactical side. So that question that answers to that question. So thank you.
As Ava explained, my name is Staff Sergeant Warren. I'm Intel. I'm also guard, so I've done a little bit outside of my career field. My most recent assignment was out at Ramstein. I was in the USAFE Africa staff doing operational planning, which basically is a bunch of rated officers after they finish flying or being a nav. They'll go in there and write our O plans and whatever it may be. So I was very often the lowest ranking in the room because I put on staff about a year ago. It was difficult for me at first. It was a learning curve, and because I did feel like I had a younger perspective that could help them a little bit, and also, like I said, they were all rated. They don't even see the perspective of like intelligence cyber, the more in the building jobs. So there were many times that I decided that I would try to clarify or ask questions, and there were times that I was definitely off mark. There were other times that I was on the mark, and it's those times that ended up being really important, because at a certain point they started to look towards me to say things, even though I was a senior airman at the time. So it's important to just keep standing up, even though it may feel uncomfortable or not like your place. It's always your place. We're all in this Air Force together. And you can influence anything from any rank or any position.
What situations tested your integrity or accountability the most, and how did you remain grounded in the Air Force core values when the right choice was also the hard one?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Master Sergeant Selina Ortega. As the introduction stated, I've been in the military in various capacities, so security forces, mental health, military training instructor, and I currently do staff work on behalf of the Reserve MATCOM Chief, so AFRIC. Most of my experience has been in a reserve capacity, so I've been in the reserves since 2013, and the last 2 assignments are on an active duty tour. So hopefully I can bring the perspective of a reservist member, but also the enlisted corps. As I mentioned, doing staff work. So what I would share is very rarely are moments of integrity challenged by dramatic situations. While we have our 3 core values, as you step into a role of a commissioned officer, serving your first capacity as a squadron commander or doing staff work, one of the things that I would highly encourage that you take away from this panel is, did you consult with your stakeholders? So before making a decision, that you consult with JAG, policy, your senior enlisted leader, your first sergeant, top 3 within the squadron, but also internally asking yourself, one thing that I always ask myself before I execute any decision is, can I justify the action or decision that I just made?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Cadet Candidate Roman Bereguta. Currently assigned to a preparatory school, but previously I was enlisted. I was a financial technician in 21 Comptroller Squadron right out in the street at Peterson. So some of you might have came here because I certified your LOAs. I was able to deploy in a short period of time that I was enlisted. I deployed to Ramstein, Task Force Grey Wolf. I also deployed with NATO Special Operations, which was an amazing experience for me. And it taught me a lot, because as I joined, I was at a real small level. I was training, I finished my upgrade training, and next day I was on the way to Germany. They came in 2 days before closeout, hey, we need you in the country tomorrow at 10. I expected it, but I did not know it was gonna be that fast. I show up on the first day, and I'm like, hey, it's time to work. I did not know anything about the job, what we were supposed to do, what we were supposed to talk about. So the first conversation was pretty stressful. But my commander, the person who I translated for, he was like, hey, you did it very well. Even though I did not do well, in my opinion, his compliment kind of reinforced the idea that I can do it. So for me, being integrity is being accountable to yourself, knowing that you're doing the right thing, knowing that, yes, I'm not just doing the right thing when other people are looking or not looking, but when you think about yourselves like, yes, I did the right thing, even though I didn't care if anybody was looking or not looking.
Thank you. How does everyday courage, doing the right thing consistently, build trust within a unit, and why is that trust essential to mission success?
I'll veer off a little bit on this one, talk about credibility, not just in ourselves, but as the United States Air Force, because we're all holding that name on our chest every day. So Roman and I had a lot of experience in bilateral environments. I was working with the Japanese every day, especially through USAFE in Europe. We have all of our partners, and then also in Indo-PACOM, and it's super important to our senior leaders how we show ourselves. We, as the United States Air Force, work in all the AORs. We are trained to know the mission set everywhere and to be pretty broad, and you will be able to experience all of them more than likely throughout your career. But it's really important to note that each of these countries that you go and visit, maybe for an exercise you're just working with the Italians, to know what their priorities are and to know what their mission set is and who they do align with and who they may not. Like, even though they're all in NATO, doesn't necessarily mean they're best friends with one another. So to show up and be a credible country to them and feel like they can rely on us, because to be completely honest with you, there are our adversaries that are going to be competing for these alliances. If they aren't already, then they will be in the future. So being a credible force and making sure that all of our airmen do as well, because the exercises that we go to, we may be going to an exercise every quarter, but this may be the first time that this person has ever worked with the United States, and all of us are showing it. So show up and show out for us and our future as a force.
For me, I take trust very seriously in my capacity because, well, to be blunt, if I make a bad decision, I probably won't be here anymore. So that's just part of the career field. But that trust also goes with my team, right? So my team has to trust that I will make sure they get them back home to their families, right? But I like to take this question more geared to you guys as far as your capacity. So you're at the command level, or you will be at the command level. For us, in my experience, typically officers will be in charge of a scene because you are the highest ranking. So we have to put our trust into you guys, because at the end of the day, all I can do is advise you to say, hey, I think you should do this, but at the end of the day, it's your decision, because that's just how the rank structure works. But I have to trust that you will make sure I get home to my wife and kids, right? So I take this question, I kind of gear it back to the last question too, is using your core values. Because there will be times that, yes, it will be easier to cut corners to get the mission done faster, but are those corners going to make sure everyone gets home safely? You will have people under you when you get to the command level if you're enlisted, and you will be in charge of them, right? You will get to know them, see their strengths and weaknesses. So I always tell my young officers, and this might be jumping ahead, but to really lean on your enlisted folks, right? They've been in for a while. You might be new to the craft. I know you guys do, where you go out to different bases and you learn different AFSCs. That, to me, is very important in your careers, because you get to see what other crafts are. So I always tell my young officers that come into CE to really get to know the airmen, get to know the NCOs and your senior NCOs, because obviously we've been doing this for quite a while, but they also have different aspects to the job that you might not know of, right? So I believe it's called ops that you guys go and do, but get to master your crafts, right? Because at the end of the day, you will be in charge of us. So it's really good to know, to have that trust between your enlisted and your command.
Awesome. Thank you. What habits, mindsets, or experiences help shape your courage and professionalism as a junior airman, and how can cadets begin building those qualities now?
So going into leading habits, you need to start to identify who you are as an individual and understanding your why. Your habits will change because of the mission set and where you are in the environment that we're in as an organization and enterprise, but also your specific requirements to help support the subordinates that you have under you. One of the habits that I quickly developed was to observe first and then make decisions later, because I don't want to make a triggered decision that could affect and cause second and third order effects. As my wingman here stated, you're going to be often going into times where, in positions where you are making that executive decision, but I would caution you to make those decisions without consulting your stakeholders, so your top three, your senior enlisted leader, understanding the NSS and any other resources that we have before making a decision that could impact your enlisted corps?
I think having courage to be wrong sometimes, like being able to admit that you're wrong as an officer builds a lot of credibility towards you. Being able to ask questions, even if it's an airman, an NCO, a lot of them will have a lot more experience than you, even though you went through 4 or 5 years of school. There are some people who have been in for 20, 30 years, and you just cannot not pay attention to the experience that they have. So when I had moments when the officer would tell me what to do, I'd be like, hey, like this might not work, and he would work with me to trying to figure out the best way to figure out how to achieve the goal versus, hey, this is what the plan, this is what we need to do, this is how you're gonna do it. Sometimes it goes well, but sometimes it's not the best way to approach things. And it's a lot better in the United States, but working with partner forces and their allies, I've seen a lot of, hey, you're a soldier, I'm an officer. You follow my orders exactly how I tell you to. So being able to be flexible, ask questions, ask for help, and ask for advice is probably my best recommendation.
My last question for you, as Sergeant Sanders already touched on a little bit, but as future officers, cadets will rely on enlisted airmen like you. What should young leaders understand about earning credibility, empowering airmen, and leading with courage in the profession of arms?
My advice, I give this because I've seen a lot of officers do it, and I honestly feel like I struggle with it, would be trusting your team to do the work. I know that as a person, you feel like you know that you can do it perfectly, and you know how you want it done. And it's easy to stay at work for that 10-hour day and crank out the PowerPoint because you're the slide master and you think you're the best at it. But I implore you to either train the people below you or help them out to get to a point where you guys have like a trusting relationship, because when you just keep taking all the work and not letting the people below you take it, it really creates a untrust or a feeling of no trust within the team, because you can't trust them and then they feel like they can't trust you. And that's the last thing you want in your team. And speaking of what you want in your team, the Air Force, and honestly the military as a whole, negativity creeps in and ruins units and teams day by day. I see it happen. So as an officer, especially as an officer, don't fall into the trap, because especially for your enlisted force below you, if you're doing it, then to them it allows them to do it, and that's not what you want. But also nixing it when you do see it within the unit, because it will travel on for years to come. Just after you leave or after that person leaves, because it's already kind of infested, it's not going to go away. My last piece is, you're in the military academy now, you're going to go into your military career. If you're overseas, you're pretty isolated, like the military is your whole entire life. So I have within myself, I feel like it's really important to try to take leadership opportunities in the civilian career fields or just in your civilian life, because obviously there's great leaders in the civilian population as well, and you can really learn from them, something that you won't be able to learn through the military leaders, because all of us are sucked into this hole that we are in. It's a great hole, but it is a way to learn how you can improve as a leader that maybe you're not going to figure out here in this career.
Like you said, I already kind of touched on it, but again, master your craft, and what Master Ortega said too, there's things out there that can help broaden your career, right? Stay up to date with the National Defense Strategy, the NSS. There's a bunch of other things going on in the world right now. The current threats, obviously the world's kind of shifty right now, so not to get, we'll stay in class, but there's a lot of things going on in the world, right? So stay up to date what's going on. If you're at the command level, make sure you're pushing your guys. Don't take the comfortable route, because to be frank, it's not going to be that easy if we go into the next conflict, right? We're going to be outside and we're not going to be comfortable. So don't take the easy way all the time. And as far as officers, when you get into that position, everyone will look to you for answers. So it's good to have the answers, but also walk the walk. So definitely be the person wearing the uniform right. Don't be cutting corners because you're an officer, because I've seen it multiple times in my career. And you kind of lose, that credibility aspect. So I love when officers come in sharp, they're fitness athletes, and they follow the regs, right? So, and also what she said, find your why. Why you put the uniform on every day, We talked to the preps yesterday, and that was a good question that someone brought up of like, what is your why, right? So I told him like, your why could change at different times. My why when I first came in the Air Force was obviously just to serve my country because I'm a huge patriot, but my why changed over my aspects of things I had to see or witness in deployments or stuff I've seen just stateside running EOD operations. So, but at the end of the day, we're all in the Air Force, we're all brothers and sisters. Your why should be your left and your right, who's sitting next to you, right? So get up, put it on the uniform proudly, and then just execute each day.
And the last thing that I'll leave you with, because I'm a very direct individual, although I'm very proud of each and every one of you, what I will tell you is your commissioning and the rank that you put on is going to give you authority, but it's not going to automatically grant credibility. The two things that I would give you, then hopefully you take away, is be intentional, but also empower those below you and make sure that you take care of them. If they see that you are a trusted agent within the squadron, group, wing, or NAF level, your population and your subordinates will approach you with any matter that they have.
Panelists, thank you for sharing your discussion with us today.